The White House has planned to purchase 500 million doses of COVID vaccine from Pfizer to provide for the global vaccine program. COVAX will be welcome news to those around the world still struggling to get vaccinated. It comes even as some doses here in the U.S. could potentially go to waste as vaccination rates decline. So what are the hurdles to getting more vaccine doses overseas? ABC's Bob Woodruff takes a look in this week's Vaccine Watch.
The United States now has an abundance of COVID vaccines, and a lot of them may be about to expire. This partly because some Americans have refused or held off on getting vaccinated.
I think for me, it's just, I just haven't gotten around to it. I definitely plan to.
Many countries around the world are desperate for our vaccine supply, even our closest neighbors.
Canada is desperately trying to get shots into arms and looking to our state for help.
But when it comes to donating vaccine doses, the challenge is not the physical transportation by plane or ship. It is the legal and bureaucratic complexity that is not yet resolved.
At this point, our best bet is to just try to get as many of those J&J vaccines into arms of Americans while we think about the rest of our stockpile and try to redistribute that around the world.
As of now, more than 5 billion people around the world have not yet received a single shot. Some countries have not received vaccines at all, including Burundi, Eritrea, Tanzania, and Haiti.
About 2 billion shots have been administered worldwide, and about 80% of those are either in high-income or upper-middle-income countries.
Some desperate for a vaccine are coming to the U.S., either because there are not enough vaccines at home, or others don't trust the vaccines they are offered in their own country.
It really is a bit of the Wild West right now. I think the good news is there's more and more vaccines being developed and being made more available.
President Biden plans for the U.S. to ship up to 80 million vaccine doses around the world by the end of this month, and has also pledged at least $4 billion to the international COVAX efforts, more than any other nation.
Mr. President, do you expect to come out with a vaccine strategy for the world?
I have one, and I'll be announcing it.
The first 25 million of those doses will go to the countries most in need.
About 19 million of those 25 million are going to be shared through a program called COVAX, which is part of the World Health Organization's plan to immunize countries that are lower resource.
The remaining 6 million will go to countries prioritized by the U.S. and to UN frontline workers.
It's a drop in the bucket. I mean, it's a goodwill gesture, but it's a drop in the bucket. I mean, we need to be supporting countries ramping up their own production.
COVAX initially promised the world 1.8 billion vaccine doses by June, but by the end of this month, that promise will likely fall short by about 190 million doses.
They're going to need another 250 million by September. And it's really in part because India, where the majority of these vaccines were supposed to be manufactured, had to divert their doses to its own population.
But adding to the growing complexity of the global vaccination campaign, new questions about which vaccines will count for international travelers.
Not all vaccines are created equally, and what we're seeing is that play out on the international stage, where we're seeing certain countries experiencing surge, even despite having, incredibly well-deployed vaccines across the population. These surges are related to both variants, but also because vaccines that were used in those countries were just not as effective.
For example, vaccines like AstraZeneca, Russia's Sputnik V, and China's Sinopharm have not been approved for use here in the United States.
It goes without saying, these are all different vaccines, so they're not identical in the way they work and also presumably in how well they work.
So the question is, would the U.S. or other countries allow travelers who received them to enter, even if, for some countries, these were the only vaccines available?
What does that mean for all students that are returning to the U.S. and that are required to be immunized as part of their college experience? If they've had the Sinopharm vaccine, Do they count, or do they have to start over? And which vaccine should they take? Should they take 2 doses of Pfizer? Maybe it's a single shot of J&J as a booster.
Starting July 1st, countries in the EU will allow free travel for those holding a digital COVID certificate proving they are vaccinated with one of those approved by the European Medicines Agency.
It's complicated because do people have to get immunized with the right vaccine for the country they want to go to? And what is the protocol?
And as for the United States, still no clear guidance. This is Bob Woodruff, tracking the vaccine.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.